Okay, so this is an exercise really on just being able to control and manipulate a weapon in your hand against outside angles coming in. So where we might deal with a punch in other situations, this is more of like slapping type energy, those types of angles coming in. And so Instructor Franco is just going to lead in with these large open hand swings. He's going to be aiming toward my face, chest area with his swings, and I'm going to be using this guy. It can represent a knife. Again, this way you can make these at home. If you don't have any training knives and you don't want to pull out the butter knife and do anything weird with it, make these and you've got a training tool. So, so as he feeds these angles in, and so the idea is, again, I'm using this to represent a knife in my eyes. And the idea is that just having a weapon in your hand doesn't mean that it's a tool to cause harm, but it's also a tool to prevent harm against yourself. And in which case, it can be preventing harm to them. Like, I don't necessarily want to have to cut somebody. Although, if I pull a knife out, I'm ready to, of course, the idea is there. But if I can pass and protect myself before I have to engage that way, that's an idea. I want to make sure that I'm blocking or redirecting an attack coming toward me. So how this works, let's say the angle one. As this comes in, I have two options for this angle, just this one in particular. This hand can come into play too, but this hand, I can either go in against the inside. I'm going to hack with my forearm or my just below my wrist, and I hack and then hook with the weapon. Right? I'm hacking and hooking. As I do that, I'm passing it by, and then this hand will come in and I'll just make sure I check it to keep it away from me. Okay, so watch that again. As it comes in, hack and hook. Okay, the next option is if I can shoot underneath, then I can actually come in from the outside or underneath it and hook and pass it this way. All right, so watch that again. As it comes in, hack, again with my forearm, hacking and hooking as it goes past me, okay? If I want to use this hand, I can stop, right? That can be like a block, and then I can hook with it. Or I can pass and then hook with it, right? So you have the option, and the reason that you might want to pick one where this hand engages first is, let's say maybe I'm dealing with this hand. So the same options are available here. So as he goes to swing at me, I hack and then I hook. And now this hand, when I go to clear it, as I'm hooking down, I'll use my forearm to hack again to keep that past me. That's where cuts and things like that can go into play. So again, as this angle's coming in, I hack with my forearm, I hook with the weapon, and then I hack again to pass it. Right? If I wanted to, I can come in from underneath and go to the outside this way, go over. And as I come through this way, I would use this hand to strike, and then I can cut and do other things that way. Just like this angle, or this side over here, as this one's coming in, I can strike or stop first, and then pass. If it made sense, if I see that there's no threat in this, there's no weapon in this hand where it's going to hurt me, then I can just stop it. So I can be here and strike, and then come back in, and as this hand's coming in at me, I can be dealing with this. But let's talk about why I might want to use this hand. So let's say he's swinging at me on this side. I'm dealing with this, but as I'm dealing with this hand's already coming in, so I have to hack and then pass. All right, so I don't always have the luxury of using the one that's the most comfortable, but I have the tools so that if I'm already engaged with something else, I can engage with another part of my body, another weapon. This same principle, it gets applied in the sense that maybe there's another individual. I don't have another person to attack me right now, but let's say, for example, I'm dealing with this threat over here, I'm working on it, and then I see that this is happening. I can block and go from there, right? I can engage using other parts of my body. I mean, I know that seems common sense, but when you start putting weapons in people's hands, common sense tends to kind of go and do its own thing. I was on a vacation for a little bit, and in this way, I'm giving you guys the aha experience to understand. It's really simple. It follows simple logic, but it just takes some practice. It just takes some doing. So again, I'm gonna go nice and slow through the flow so that you guys can now identify the things that I'm talking about. And if you see opportunities when you're practicing, I'll do a couple of them here, to be able to cut or stab with the weapon, or in this case, you can think impact or thrust or jab with the weapon, then do so in between the interceptions of the angles coming at you. So the attack comes in, and I just begin passing, right? A little hard. And time. So I hope that exercise makes some sense to you. And obviously you get some training in. Maybe if you've never done this before, there's a first for everything. But above anything else, I hope this brings some fun into your probably very mellow quarantine. And you guys have an opportunity to try something new and to play around in the house with. Cool.